Well, we move on to the third big conversation point, and this is about the DDC results. The local body elections that were held in Jammu and Kashmir, and the results that are coming in now. Counting is still underway, but broadly the picture is clear. Now, as per the trends in 274 out of the 280 seats, the Gupkar Alliance has 182 seats, and they're also leading in 30 other seats. So together, the NC, the PDP, and a few others, the Gupkar Alliance, or that it's known as, has 182 seats. They're also leading in 30 others. BJP, on the other hand, their main contender, the main contender to the Kashmir parties, the BJP is leading in 18 seats. They've also won 52 seats. Now, what is obviously making a lot of news is the fact that a BJP candidate has won in Srinagar, Azaz Hussain, and that's been spoken about a lot. We're also going to give you the breakdown in terms of the latest results, and we have to split it, honestly speaking, between Jammu and Kashmir and see which party is leading and where they're gaining strength. But viewers, this election was the first election that took place since the abrogation of Article 370. This is the first election that took place in over 1.5 years. We still don't know what is the plan as far as state elections are concerned. That's going to be one of the questions that I ask. That now that we've seen a decent turnout for the DDC polls that were held over 3 weeks, and those results are out, should we actually start planning to resume the political activity at a statewide level and plan the elections at the state level as well, not just for the local polls, but even for the assemblies? That's the big question. But first, let me say good evening to the panelists who are joining us on this special show. I have got Mr. Najmu Saqib, additional spokesperson for the PAGD, which is the Gupkar Alliance, the alliance that is currently in the lead of the 274 with 112 leads/wins that they've got. We've also got Gopal Krishna Agarwal, national spokesperson for the BJP. BJP's got about 70 so far leads/wins. Khalid Shah, associate fellow with the ORF, joining us this evening. And I'll also have Mr. Manoj Joshi, senior journalist, with us right now. Let me see if I can go across to Najmu Saqib. Okay, before we go across to him, let me say good evening to Mr. Manoj Joshi. Mr. Joshi, how would you view these results? What your first reaction to the numbers we're looking at? Okay, I don't think Mr. Joshi is able to hear us right now. Najmu Saqib, good evening to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Najmu, your reaction, 112 so far to the PAGD.
No, I'm not getting you clearly right now. Yeah, tell me again, ask me again.
We have some cross-correction taking place right now, technology as it works when we are in different parts of the country. Good evening, Mr. Manoj Joshi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Mr. Manoj Joshi, your first response to the numbers you're looking at, how would you interpret these numbers, the combined NC-PDP versus the BJP together?
Well, I think that first of all, these numbers are kind of trends. The number of seats that they've actually won, we're not sure. Number one. Number two, some of these numbers are also spun out to show how a particular party is doing very well. Things start changing. And in this particular election is a very peculiar election in the sense that in some ways it's a kind of a proxy election. Because of what has happened, the state assembly has been derogated. And in my view, it has been wrongly done. And so they've set up this whole development council business and putting across, trying to. I'm not sure what exactly they're trying to achieve. The fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, the so-called Gupkar alliance is the dominant political force in Kashmir, and it's not just the valley. Meaning, you'll hear a lot of stuff saying, okay, no, this is just the valley. It's parts of Jammu, it's Poonch, it's Rajouri, and those areas as well. Maybe not Ladakh.
I mean, keeping Ladakh aside, we're looking at the numbers, and like you said, these are still leads in many of these constituencies because the counting is still underway. Congress, remember, viewers, for those of you who haven't tracked this, did not fight with the NC or the PDP. They chose to stay away from the alliance and fight independently, separately. So the BJP is leading in 70, some of those, over 50 of those that they have won. And the Gupkar alliance in about 112, they're leading. Over 80 of those that they have won already, that has been declared. Najmu Saqib, let me try and see if you are able to hear me now.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Great, thank you so much for that. Najmu, is this as per your own alliance's internal calculations? Are you satisfied with the numbers you're looking at?
Well, I think certainly, let me sort of agree with what Mr. Manoj Joshi has said, that it was in the dead of the night that BJP announced these elections for DDC in Kashmir, when the news around every political leader was tightened, our restrictions were inhibited, the candidates were, picked up and locked up in jail, security was, sort of downgraded for every political leader. And they had hoped certainly that these political parties will not contest, and that by not contesting they will be isolated in a vacuum, and in this vacuum BJP will sort of emerge. But I think that plan was, that sort of evil design was nipped in the bud by the sagacity that the leadership of Jammu and Kashmir has shown by contesting in these elections. Well, I think Mr. Manoj Joshi also raised another point, is that we have to look at it that BJP is happy celebrating the islands of victory in Kashmir, but rather forgetting that the continents of victory that the PGD is, sort of has achieved in its backyard in Jammu, where its president is trailing the BJP president, mind you, is trailing in some of his own segments. There are a lot of cabinet ministers, former cabinet ministers of BJP, who were contesting and have lost the seats. So I think the message is loud and clear. Those who are championing that this is a good experiment in democracy, well, certainly it was. But this hypocrisy was certainly exposed when those who championing the cause of democracy locked up the former chief ministers for 14 months, curtailed the freedom of movement of every Kashmiri. I think if any credit for these elections has to go, it certainly should go to Election Commission, not how BJP wants it to be in its own kitty. So I think fairly, it's the numbers are very good, given the constraints that were placed on us, given that we also have to look into the fact that none of our political top leaders could actually campaign for their candidates. Because some of them were not allowed. There were some days you had enforcement directorates, some days some candidates were picked up. So in this atmosphere, without any sort of backup support from the top leadership, and I think the important thing is that these top leaders did not impress upon the people. So I think the message has come from the grassroots that we reject August 5 move in Jammu and Kashmir, that we reject the downgrading of state of Jammu and Kashmir to a union territory, that we reject the curtailment of freedom of movement, that we reject the totalitarian mindset and these experimental lab that Jammu and Kashmir has been converted.
Okay, I would agree with you to say that obviously the BJP is not managed much in the Kashmir, but they still have ended up getting significant amount of votes and won at least in the Jammu region. Quick response from Mr. Gopal Agarwal and how BJP really sees these numbers as they are right now, and if this is as per your expectations, Mr. Agarwal.
No, our expectation, Tanvi, was only that the democracy wins here. That was the aim. And then what you understand is that earlier, my earlier panelist was saying that they had lot of constraint and their leaders were not allowed to go out. They were restricted. And why then is a 51% vote share voting? Earlier election, this is the first time that such an election has been held in a democratic setup where we have a three-tier system of democracy. The lowest tier is the highest where democracy can find its way to the people. That's way from the democracy is important. And the thing was earlier, people were facing all the restrictions. They were feeling the pinch of terrorism. They were feeling the pinch of unemployment, not getting central government policies benefit. And what was these leaders, Gupkar leaders were doing? They were getting all the money from the corrupt sources. They were enjoying all the securities. They were enjoying all the positions. Now they have been restricted, so they are crying. The thing is, earlier they used to restrict people with 7% of vote share. They were ruling the Jammu and Kashmir. Now with 51% of votes, they are crying. It is the freedom for the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. It is the freedom of the integration with the national mainland, getting all the benefits of the central schemes, etc. It is a fit case how 370 was being used to subvert democracy in Jammu and Kashmir and get all the benefit. Usko
But
apni jagir
Mr.
bana
Gopal
ke chalate
Agarwal,
ho.
if that was the case, wouldn't your party be polling better numbers if it was actually a vote in support of your decisions?
No, but ultimately the decision is at the center. This is the first time that the BJP was not even there presence. This was the way other governments were functioning. And why don't you compare simply? Why don't you simply talk in black and white? 7% polling and 51%. You don't understand the difference.
No, that democracy has won. But I wouldn't put that, give the credit to that. How do I give the credit for that to the BJP? The credit to that, like Najmul Saqib said, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, will go to the Election Commission.
No.
I'm asking you to give me your interpretation of the numbers you are looking at right now.
No, but understand, we are telling that the interpretation is that the democracy has won. BJP was not there at all. It has come up. We were not only in the interest. We know that in Jammu and Kashmir, many people are against Article 370 because they were getting all the benefits of corruption, of all the Roshni Act and everything. Security. There was a class of people, a stakeholder who were enjoying all the benefits. So they definitely when there is a stakeholders fight and they lose, they had a certain say in the whole democracy.
Okay.
Or the whatever the system was there.
All right. Let me get in Khalid Shah as well. I will come back to you, Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Point taken. Khalid Shah, one way to look at it, and like Mr. Gopal Agarwal says, is that voter turnout and how that obviously is...
So those who ignore this only do it at the peril of their democracy and exposes them their agenda. That you cannot understand the difference between 7% vote share and ruling for
Mr. Gopal
almost
Agarwal,
70
I'm not
years.
taking that away from you. Okay. If you insist, we will break it down into two separate parts and talk about it. Khalid, let's begin with the voter turnout and then we will talk about the BJP's performance as well.
Tanvi, I think the learned spokesperson of the BJP is mistaken and misled about the voter turnout. If you look at the voter turnout, it's very high in districts of Jammu region, where the voter turnout is consistently above 65%. Whereas in Kashmir Valley, the voter turnout hovers around 30 to 35%.
In Jammu Kashmir?
अरे भाई साहब बात करने दीजिए मैं आपको डेटा बता रहा हूँ क्या है. You haven't looked at the data. I have looked at the data. I have studied it for 2 days.
जम्मू कश्मीर का पार्ट नहीं है क्या?
I am. See, the problem is.
What kind of an argument is that, Mr. Agarwal? Come on now. अगर हम बिहार की बात करते हैं और बिहार में अलग-अलग
the thing is, the thing is that the BJP spokesperson talked about the low voter turnout.
Discussion happens in elections,
The BJP spokesperson,
Please, come on now. Don't give this kind of an argument.
Please don't interrupt
this
me.
is not a nationalistic debate at all right now. This is a debate about what the people of Jammu Jammu and
They
Kashmir
were
are telling
Let
us.
me,
And the
Let
people
let me
of
tell you
Jammu
what the
can give
data
us a
says,
different
sir.
answer
I
than
have
the
looked at
people
the
of
data.
Kashmir.
Jammu was giving,
Please let me
getting a
complete
I
my
don't want
sentence.
people to
by the
talk over me,
so-called-
please. I want Khalid Shah to finish his point. Let us finish his point and then others can respond. Yes, Khalid.
Tanvi, the thing is that the traditionally, for last 3 decades, the low voter turnout areas have been the 10 districts of Kashmir Valley. And when the BJP spokesperson talks about the low voter turnout, the 7% turnout, he talks about the districts from Kashmir Valley. And what I am trying to tell is that in Jammu, in 10 districts of Jammu, the voter turnout is consistently about 65%. But in Kashmir Valley, it hovers from district to district. In some districts, yes, indeed, the voter turnout has been high. In all 8 phases of this election, the voter turnout has in the Kashmir Valley is between 35% and 40%. It is somewhat the 50%
So
of
it is still
the
higher
voter
than
turnout of Jammu
7%.
region. If they're really confident about having achieved a victory of democracy, they have to look at the voter turnout in Pulwama and Shopian, which is not even in 2 digits. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, indeed, there has been a significant increase in the voter turnouts in the 10 districts of Kashmir Valley, but that doesn't really give us a very rosy picture.
Yeah.
I think what the message that's coming out is that there is alienation and anger in some pockets of Kashmir Valley, where the people are not even considering a democratic exercise to partake in it. Whereas in other parts of Kashmir Valley, there are people who have come out in large numbers. For instance, in Kupwara district, the voter turnout has been around 50%. So we have to understand and admit this nuance here, because you see, the low voter turnout is only in South Kashmir districts where we have an festering militancy, where we have a lot of violence that is happening. And we do not see a change happening there. And therefore, the question on whether these elections will bring about any change when it comes to the security situation is a question left open. Now, talking about the turnout and the results that have come forward, BJP has been reduced to 4 districts of Jammu, which is Riyasi, Samba, Udhampur, and Jammu. They are winning the majority of their seats from these districts. Why it's important to talk about districts is because every district is like a mini assembly, and every district will have a chairman, and the chairman will have the powers to guide the developmental activities. And what happens in this case is that PHGD has a comfortable number to control 30 out of 20 districts of Jammu and Kashmir, whereas BJP will only be controlling about 5 districts. There are 2 or 3 districts where that number may change, and BJP may be able to control 1 more district. So what happens is essentially that BJP will be able to elect its chairman, who will then carry out the developmental activities only in 5 to 6 districts. That is a very important thing to note, because this is not an assembly election. Here you don't have a halfway number or so.
Right.
Every district is a standalone unit in this election. The third thing is that by and large, it seems that the vote is against the BJP. The vote is against the policies of the BJP. BJP talked a lot about the development, and mind you, BJP has not been ruling Jammu and Kashmir only from August 5th, but from June 2018, when Mehbooba Mufti's government fell. And since then, people had a lot of time, 2.5 years. BJP had 2.5 years to really carry out developmental activities or show that they mean business in Jammu and Kashmir.
Right.
But when it comes to development, their record is abysmal. That's why you see, even in Jammu, people have voted against them. Then coming about 370 and 35A. Certainly, I think even in Jammu, people are concerned about the new land laws that have been brought in. The people in Jammu believe that they will be at a disadvantage, and that's why they have voted BJP out of power. I think BJP has a very serious problem, and it's very important for the policymakers to New Delhi take these elections very seriously. Don't buy the propaganda of the party spokespersons, because it is a strategically important state where you have 2 nuclear powers who are kind of looking at this place and have in a sense, a role to play. And it's very important that the results are taken very seriously, read very keenly, and policies hereon be made as per the
Khalid,
mandate that is coming out from the people.
What should happen from here on in just a bit, because it's very important. These are the local body posts elections that have been held. I think it's high time we also start looking at Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Let me at least talk, please. There is no point in talking over me. I'm sorry. sorry. I don't know what is wrong with you today. But you know the rules of engagement here on the Urban Debate and Mirror now. Allow me to speak, please.
खालिद को कितना टाइम दिया, कितना दिया?
वो मेरा डिसीजन है, अगर आपको नहीं पसंद है वो आप अपने टाइम में बोलिए।
हाँ, तो हम भाषण सुनने के लिए बैठे हैं क्या? आप बता देते कि सुनते रहो भाषण, ये क्या तरीका है?
That is completely your choice, Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Please don't teach me how to conduct a debate on my show. Now, do you want to respond to what Khalid Shah has said?
Yeah, I tell you, अगर आपको ये लगता था कि हम क्या प्रेसिडेंट रूल नहीं बना के चला सकते थे क्या? वहाँ पे why we remove just stop president rule?
Mr. Joshi, I will not be. 1 minute, please. Mr. Joshi, if you're trying to say something, we won't be able to hear you on these Skype connections if two people are talking.
Speak.
Let me just hear Gopal Agarwal and then I'm coming to you next, Manoj Joshi.
Earlier government, what they were doing, they were continuing with the president rule. What was stopping us to continue with the president rule and have the center say in the Jammu and Kashmir? And
I'm hoping that you do have some faith in democracy.
That is showed. No, we believe in democracy.
I mean, unless you just want a dictatorial version to continue for years together, you would want to hold elections at some point, right?
Why didn't you talk?
That is not a grand decision that you have taken, Mr. Gopal Agarwal.
Yeah,
please don't try and take credit for that.
This is the grandest decision. This is the winning of the democracy there. Without third tier of democracy establishing itself, nothing can be achieved. Panchayat Raj, District Council, these are the pillars of democracy. You start democracy from there. If you strengthen those, it is now the people have got their say. Earlier, they were not allowed to have their say.
Tanvi, can I come in here about the 3 tiers of democracy, please?
We removed the Roshni Act. Who was benefiting from the Roshni Act? What
the
was
BJP leaders were the beneficiaries of both.
This CBI and even the Anti-Corruption Bureau had no say in Jammu and Kashmir, where lakhs and crores of money was going. Only 3 families. Judge Shri Farooq Abdullah's property. Bring out a list of properties of Farooq Abdullah and Mufti Muhammad. Mahbooba Mufti. You know
put them in jail. Who's stopping you? To put them in jail. आपको 2014 से 6 साल लग गए ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू करने में। आपको महबूबा मुफ्ती के दुष्कर्म अब दिख रहे हैं। जब आप उनके साथ पावर में थे, उनके साथ सरकार बना के बैठे थे जम्मू कश्मीर, तभी नहीं दिखाई दिया आपको ये सब। फारूक अब्दुल्ला के दुष्कर्म अब दिख रहे हैं। जब वो आपके एलाई थे तब आपको ये सब नहीं दिखाई दिया।
नहीं तो अब दुष्कर्म खत्म हो गए क्या?
अब मुझे लग रहा है हो जाएंगे, अगले इलेक्शन तक याद नहीं आएगा, ये सबको पता है। Nobody is denying the extent of corruption that may be there across political parties, Mr. Gopal Agarwal. 1 minute, please. Okay, 1 minute. Nobody is denying the extent of corruption that's gone on in Jammu and Kashmir across party lines. But for us to prove anything requires more commitment than just a little bit of action during election time. Let's just be very honest about it. If this investigation really culminates into something and somebody going behind bars, I will say, okay, BJP did the right thing. Until then, it's as superfluous and as superficial and farcical as your investigations against Robert Vadra and the likes of the Congress party. Now, Mr. Manoj Joshi wanted to make a point.
But you accept Robert Vadra is a corrupt person.
Mr. Joshi.
Well, my first point was that let's not get too excited about the democratic consequences of this.
Yeah.
After all, democracy has been murdered in Kashmir. What has happened in Kashmir, I think the Supreme Court needs to get into this. The derogation of Article 370. Everyone talks about 370. What did 370 do? 370 was already finished. There was nothing much in 370. Mr. Agarwal talked 370. It has become a political slogan.
So then you should be happy that legally also it has been done away with.
Mr. Agarwal, you have spoken a lot.
At least clap for that, which was already finished.
अगर आप इतना बोलना चाहते हैं,
finished has been removed.
बोलना चाहते हैं कहीं बाहर जाके बोलिए. यहाँ पे हमको तो मौका दीजिए.
अरे 3 लोगों को बिठा लेते हो और फिर बात करते हो. बराबर 3 लोगों का टाइम देना चाहिए.
अगर आप बोलना चाहते हैं बाहर जाके बोलिए, हमको यहाँ मौका दीजिए. हमारा
बराबर
तो-
टाइम देना चाहिए.
Okay, Mr.
तीन लोग
Gopal
अगर आप
Agarwal, I promise you, I will come back to you. I will give you your fair time to make your answers.
No,
Now, please,
divide
as
the
you
time
usually
equally.
are in my debate, I request you, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, usually how
So
you are
you
in my
should-
debates,
you should
can
give
we
equal
please go
time.
back
Three
to that?
people-
all I can say
I
is the
have
next time
noted
Mr.
down your
Agarwal is
point.
in
I will
program,
come to
I'm
you.
not
Now,
appearing.
let's not waste time. Let Manoj Joshi finish his point. I will come to you for a response. Yes.
First of all, I'd like to say next time Mr. Agarwal is in your program, I'm not appearing in it. I can.
And
I
I'm
can tell
also
you.
not happy with you.
And the second, I have no great interest in appearing in this this thing. The second point I'd like to make is that let's not conflate this DDC polls, which is a cosmetic exercise. After murdering democracy in Kashmir, the government has decided to go through this DDC process. District boards and all this, they've done, there's a difference between what an assembly does, legislative assembly does, and what a district council does. If we are trying to show that there's something comparable here you have, on what grounds did you take away the assembly in Kashmir? Now, can you take away the assembly in other states? Do you want to take it away in UP? UP is no great state in terms of law and order. Do you want to take it away in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, anywhere else? And say, no, DDC is the great democracy. In 1960, Ayub Khan in Pakistan, General Ayub Khan, who was the dictator of Pakistan, he said democracy is not such a good idea. He wanted something called basic democracy. And he removed all these legislatures and all that and started the similar process, what we are seeing in Kashmir today. So we are going backward. From a legislative assembly, we are going to a DDC. So I'm asked, my basic point is fundamental. What is this DDC exercise all about?
Okay, I take your point, and Gopal Agarwal can now respond.
I want to say just two things. One thing, when Mr. Joshi says that Article 370 was already dead, so he should be happy that it has been completely now buried underground. Second, if he considers this whole exercise is a murder of democracy, then I only can laugh at him. What is his standards of democratic checkup? When a whole state was completely in a situation, Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh is completely different than other parts of the country. We have to understand, when Mr. Shah says that two nuclear power are overlooking over Jammu and Kashmir, what is their interest? Who was supporting them? Who was allowing them to infiltrate into the people, and who was giving them
ones who had
inside
biryani,
benefits?
the ones who had biryani with Nawaz Sharif.
Let me speak then. Who was giving them support? These were the 3-4 families, and they are now exposed completely. If they were the list, how they amassed such a property in Jammu and Kashmir? What is their business plan? You don't understand that. What Mufti Muhammad and Mehbooba Mufti and they are doing? Omar Abdullah, have they done any business at all? How they amassed such a properties in Jammu and Kashmir? They have looted the country. They have looted the states. They are getting exposed, and the people of Jammu and Kashmir was just being confined.
Mr. Agarwal,
to, bear with their
I
fate.
understand what you're saying. I understand. I will say that, okay, these are very valid points that you're raising. But Mr. Agarwal, you're giving me answers right now which would have worked before the election results. You are still in your campaign mode. Now, please, again, I am going to ask you two things, very simple two things, and then I'll go to Khalid and Najmu. Two things, Mr. Gopal Agarwal. One, 70 leads, that's what you've got right now. Is that really an overwhelming support of the decision you took from the people of Jammu and Kashmir? Two, and if you are so believing in democracy, when are you going to hold the state elections?
That when are we going to hold state election is not what I can say here. I don't have privy to that.
Then don't make claims
But the
about belief in democracy and how democracy has won
No, but
for a state
considering
that has not
Tanvi,
seen
this
state
only-
elections take place since 2014, where also their mandate was repeatedly betrayed by the political parties.
So DDC is part of that. I'm talking only about this election. This is an important statement on the democratic process. If those elections, state and center MLA, MP elections, will take place, definitely we are going to take it to that stage. And with regard to this 70 seats, we are never said that this winning for us is only important. It is important. We have fought. Our candidates were being killed by the terrorists. How many BJP people have been killed, lost their lives to the terrorists?
Mm.
Whom the terrorists are supporting and whom they are against? Are they not against BJP people? So that is the way they are identifying BJP workers. That is the thing. We have to understand Jammu and Kashmir is not like a normal state in India. And for 70 years, there are different conditions and there were different vested interests who have exploited Jammu and
They
Kashmir.
still deserve to choose their own government. They still deserve
Yeah,
to
I
have
agree.
elections just
Yes.
like any other part of this country
Yes,
does
I
every
agree
5
with
years,
this.
Mr. Gopal Agarwal. And if you
Yeah,
are
I
quoting to
agree.
me the voter turnout and saying that, look, 50%, 60% people came out, well and good. Let's move on to the next step. Let's start holding
Yeah.
state elections.
But
Get
I
the
am telling
assembly
this is
going.
one
Najmu
step. This
Saqib
is not
first
the final.
and then to Khalid Shah. Najmu, yes.
I am not telling this is the final step. This is one of the important steps.
Okay.
I hope Mr. Agarwal's party they do not dissolve these DDC boards or councils as they are called, like they did with 65% of assembly. That the assembly that constituted of 65% of the people, votes of the 65% of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and erstwhile Ladakh. How that democratic process was murdered when it was dissolved. That's number one. So I think the distractions aside, let's
Oh. Yeah, we lost the line with you for a bit. You're back now. Go ahead.
let's go to the moot point. I think what Mr. Joshi was trying to, I would like to present the Kashmir side of the argument that why regional parties decided to sort of contest these DDC elections. So I think the dilemma in front of us was that on the one side, there was this huge propaganda machinery from BJP through its blind media, through muscle power, through its blind agencies, that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are happy and are we couldn't articulate, or probably people of country could not hear what people of Jammu and Kashmir were going through. So I think the decision at that point of time was that this sort of elections will be a barometer on the decisions that were taken on August 5.
Right.
Now, for BJP to compare these elections as some sort of barometer for peace, I think Khalid very briefly gave us why that is a frivolous argument and why these have no bearing on peace and normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir continues to be sort of an unresolved issue, an issue which needs to be resolved within the ambit of humanitarianism, as Mr. Vajpayee would have called it. I think it's very sort of strange and sort of ironic that BJP now boasts about the voting percentage in Kashmir when it directly and indirectly was involved in curtailing sort of some voting percentage in Kashmir by using its different machinery,
Okay.
by sort of different tactics.
All right.
used.
Let me still okay. Let me pick up the point on turnout and go back to Khalid. Khalid, you wanted to make a couple of points, but before that, whether or not and obviously it's not correct to say 50% voter turnout across the state, but it is still much higher than what we saw, say, at least in the last state elections. Now, to what will we attribute that to?
Well, definitely the voter turnout is higher, and I'm not denying that. But what I'm trying to say is that we should look at it in with a bit of a nuanced lens. We should not make wholesale statements about what the voter turnout means. The second thing is that what I want to reiterate is what Mr. Joshi said, that Jammu and Kashmir is the only place in the Union of India where the assembly has remained suspended for 2.5 years. Why is the BJP so scared about giving legislative powers to the people of Jammu and Kashmir? Number third, which is very important to understand, if you really believe in democracy, why did you downgrade the state of Jammu and Kashmir to the Union Territory? I mean, it has never happened in the history of India, and it really is an assault on the federal structure of India. How do you explain it to even your own people? Is there a place in India where an assembly remains suspended and the third tier of the democracy comes up and then you say, look, oh, this is a great dance of democracy? No, it doesn't. The third thing, a clarification that I want to make here is that when I said that there are two nuclear powers that are overlooking Jammu and Kashmir is a statement of fact. If Mr. Gopal had looked at the map of, had any sense of geography, he would understand that Jammu and Kashmir is a strategically important state. It is a frontier state which shares border with two nuclear powers. And that is obviously something that everybody takes very seriously. He should speak to maybe his friends in the army. They will tell him why it is important to look at Jammu and Kashmir and what's happening internally from a geopolitical prism as well. Because if you have disquiet within your territory, then others have chance to manipulate. And number four that I really want to say is that BJP can, graciously accept the defeat. There is no harm in accepting the defeat.
Okay,
You lost
but
today.
but
Okay,
but is
move
it
on.
but
Why
is
talk
it
about
defeat?
past? Why talk about corruption and so on and so forth? Somebody might flip back and say that, oh, we also know about the corruption
Yeah, but
cases against
Khalid,
Yediyurappa.
is it defeat when they manage to still, if they do manage to convert all these leads into wins, it would still be 70. They would be
70
pretty
out
much
of
on par
240.
with any other party individually
No,
speaking,
no.
let alone the alliance. But
No,
if you
no,
had to
this is-
compare their performance to just the National Conference or the PDP,
No, this is 70 out of 240.
yeah.
Tanvi.
Look at the seats they have lost. Number second is that every district is a single unit, and that single unit will function autonomously. It is not an assembly. You have to understand how many districts are they going to control, how many districts will have a chairman of BJP. That's only 4 to 5, and that is a reality. That's the reality that Mr. Gopal doesn't want to admit.
Okay.
And if there is so much democracy, for God's sake, why are we still living in a dark age era of 2G internet? Even the army generals have come out and said that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are facing hardships because of 2G internet. Why are you so scared? Give us the powers to legislate like any other state of India. Give us the powers to legislate like Gujarat has the powers to legislate. Give us the powers to legislate that Uttar Pradesh has the power to legislate. Then we'll talk about democracy. Then we'll say that whether we are on equal keel or not. Right now,
Let me
we
take
are
that
at an
point. Let me
unfair
take that point and
disadvantage.
take it across to Mr. Manoj Joshi, because this is what I essentially wanted to,
Tanvi, I
end this
would also
conversation
like
with.
to say
Mr. Gopal
something.
Agarwal, I'll come to you for sure. Let others finish, and then you'll want to respond to everybody. Mr. Joshi, can this now be taken as an example and said, well, if you can hold local body polls in such a manner, let's go ahead and start preparing for assembly elections?
The whole point is, why have we gone through this exercise? In the sense, for me, as an average citizen, my point is, why have we gone through this exercise of derogating a state, derogating an assembly, and then going through this DDCA, whatever it is, and then reconstructing the assembly and reconstructing the state? I mean, this to me seems like a completely stupid exercise. Meaning, there is no. If you wanted to remove Article 370, remove it. I have no problems. But do it in the constitutional fashion.
Right.
Go through the constitutional process, which you have not gone through. Let me be very clear. No matter what Mr. Agarwal says, the constitutional process was not followed in removing Article 370. So that's one thing. So my point is, why are we going through this circular process?
Yeah.
Does it really help the... and let me be very clear about one thing. Because I have studied and I track terrorism and militancy in Kashmir in great detail. My point is, over time, violence in Kashmir has come down. It has come down dramatically. Meaning, if you want to know what violence in Kashmir was, you should see what it was in 1990s, what it was in 2003, 2004. Today, it's nothing. And yet you claim that, oh my God, this is a huge threat. We've got to do something. So this whole thing is basically to scare people.
Right.
It is to scare people because you want to divide people.
Okay.
So my point is motivation. I suspect the motivation out here, and therefore I say that this whole exercise is a meaningless one.
Let me take that question to Gopal Agarwal. Mr. Gopal Agarwal, why first go with local body polls rather than bringing in a functional state assembly?
I want to say 2-3 points. One thing is, We have walked on a path for almost 70 years in Jammu and Kashmir. Were we able to successfully put democracy in place there? And when Mr. Shah says that 2.5 years the assembly has been suspended, he is completely ignoring the fact that for so many years we had intermittently president's rule. Was assembly not suspended many times earlier? So, and is Jammu and Kashmir not a different kind of situation than other parts of the country? Why this special treatment or special problems, and why special situations in Jammu and Kashmir? It was just because 370 was there. Second important thing is the violence, terrorism. Why that happened in 1990? What happened to Kashmiri Pandit?
No, everybody
anybody
remembers
talk
that.
about
Nobody's
them?
forgotten about
So
that. But
what did
let's
they
talk
do?
about
What,
2020 now.
Why?
2020,
Now,
Mr.
20,
Gopal
we
Agarwal.
have to rehabilitate them.
I have a quick
we have
point
to
to make.
rehabilitate them. It is an important part of our agenda.
Yeah.
Kashmiri Pandits who have been completely thrown out of that.
When will you? When will
state.
you?
It
Since
is their-
2014, you have been in power. You found an ally in the state
So
also.
this is the
It's
process.
still not
This is
happened.
the-
You've opened up the
No, we
land also
cannot
for
put them
buying.
to be
Let's
killed.
see. Let's see how quickly you rehabilitate them and how you provide them. Promises are great on paper. Let's see you implement them rather than using them again and again to get some votes. Completely out of time. I'm going to thank all of our panelists for joining us on this conversation, viewers. Yes, the voter turnout was much, much better this time for the local body polls that were held in Jammu and Kashmir versus the last set of even the state assembly polls, and after that, the by-polls that were conducted. But what does it even mean? Does it go in the favor of one party or the other? No. The numbers are still coming in, which will need a detailed analysis much later. Do not be quick to jump to conclusions. Yes, the BJP has managed to grow in certain parts of Jammu and Kashmir. But does that mean an overwhelming support to the decision they took in terms of abrogation of Article 370 and 35A? Highly debatable even now. For now, together, the National Conference and the PDP have managed to garner a larger share of the seats in these local civic body polls. But it really is all about the assembly elections and when they can be held. If this is a signal to the BJP about democracy being upheld in Jammu and Kashmir, then let's move on and hold state and assembly elections as well. Thank you for joining us.